you all so much, and thanks to Kirsten and Floris for inviting me here today. And yeah, I've called Scotland my home now for over 20 years, and I feel so honoured to have been invited here to announce the winners of the Kelpies Prize for Writing and Illustration. And don't worry, I'm going to keep this talk nice and short, because I know that that announcement is what you're all eagerly waiting for. But what a fantastic collection of stories and images we've just heard and seen, a real testament to the talent that exists here in Scotland and to the incredible work that Floris does in nurturing that talent and making sure that it's heard and seen. So again, just to echo a huge congratulations to you all. It really is a fantastic work. So when Kirsten first contacted me and asked if I would present this award, I mean, I was incredibly flattered, but then I was instantly plagued by feelings of self-doubt and imposter syndrome. And I was like, what can I say that's going to be of value to you all? But then I thought about how a creative career is often one that can have periods of self-doubt. Maybe there are other people in this room who've battled with it at times. I mean, I always feel incredibly lucky and privileged to have been able to carve out an illustration career, but creating, whether that's writing or illustration, it involves an awful lot of time on your own, kind of trying to wrestle the ideas that are in your head out onto the page. And I think there's a real vulnerability about putting your creative work out into the world, and that can take its toll. So I thought I'd share this speech to share a time quite early in my career when I really doubted whether illustration was the right path for me, and how the technique I learned to find a way through that time still guides me to this day. So this crisis of confidence came when I was studying for my illustration degree here in Edinburgh at the Art College. So it would have been over 20 years ago now, and I was midway through my second year, and I just got myself stuck into an awful downward spiral where I was really doubting my ability. And the more anxious I got about my work, the more my work dried up, until I got to the point where I convinced myself that I really needed to leave the college. My tutor at the time was fantastic and calmed me down and told me just to abandon the college project, the college work that I was wrestling with. And he said, just go and get a sketchbook and just go and draw somewhere for 2 weeks. And I've still got that sketchbook, and I've brought it with me today, and it remains a sketchbook which feels very important to me just because of what it taught me. And so this is the sketchbook, and I wrote this very affirming message in it all those years ago. I wrote, "My name is Alice Melvin. I'm doing an illustration degree, and I still think I can't draw," because that was really how I was feeling. And the place that I chose to go and draw was the National Museum here in Edinburgh. And that experience of just spending 2 weeks among the exhibits and just drawing, just to draw without thinking, oh, these drawings are for anything, without thinking about the finished project, it was really transformative, and I feel is really reflected in the illustrations within the book. So all the early pictures, they're kind of really tight and awkward. They're in my black fine liner that I was totally wedded to. And looking back, I mean, I can always feel my anxiety coming off the page. But over the course of just repeatedly showing up day after day, keeping drawing, embracing the process, the drawings just gradually got looser and looser, and I relaxed into the process, and I can really see, looking back at it, my pleasure in the mark making growing, until after having spent a full 2 weeks literally just sketching in the sketchbook, I'd gone from these really tight, awkward pictures to I'd finally abandoned my black fine liner pen and picking up these materials that I'd not worked with in a long time, like wax crayon, and just filling the images, filling the sketchbook with these bold illustrations. And over the course of those 2 weeks, I'd refound what it was that made me want to go to art college in the first place, that joy of creating. And I ended up staying at the course and completing my degree. And that early lesson in temporarily stepping away from the pressure of the finished product and drawing for the pleasure is probably one of the things that has been most valuable as I've continued to navigate my illustration career. And it's a habit that is now completely ingrained within my practice, and which has really helped me navigate quite a few subsequent tough times. And many of the books, the children's books that I've published that I'm most proud of, they have their roots in sketches that when I originally did them, they were never about coming up with ideas for children's books. And because I think one of the challenges of trying to make a career out of your creativity is that it's very easy to become kind of fixated on perfecting that end product, and you're often juggling lots of different input about the shape of your work, and along the way you can kind of lose your voice and lose what it was that first made you want to start drawing or writing in the first place. So I'll just finish this talk by saying my advice would be to give yourself regular permission to just temporarily step away and draw or write for that pleasure of just drawing and writing, and remembering that those ideas and images that kind of inspire and bring joy to you are often those which are going to find a connection with other people. And just stick with it, because you've all, clearly got so much talent. And I can't wait to see the books that you're all going to make. And I also can't wait to open these envelopes. So.